This live stream is brought to you by Just for Shabby Hair Care. Tell that gray to go away and be the younger man that you want to be, just like Shabby.
Another Talking Star Wars live stream. I've got three amazing guests with me this evening, and yeah, we've got some pretty cool bits and bobs to talk about. So let's just have a quick see who's in the chat first. And we've got Des T. Hello, Des. How are you doing, sir? Awesome. We've got Keith Knight. Hello, sir. How are you? And also we've got Jeff Barker. Hello, sir. How are you? Right. Okay, then. Who's this? Jay Brewer. Hello, sir. How are you? Nice of you to join us. Breton Fett, I just want to say happy birthday, sir. I sang you a little birthday ditty earlier, sent you a message. So hope you enjoyed that and hope you keep that as a live recording. So awesome stuff. We've got Only One Kenobi in the chat. Hello. How are you, sir? Nice of you to join us. Who else we got? We've got Michael. What is this Star Wars you speak of? Well, you'll find out in a minute, sir. You'll find out in a minute. Oh, and loads of people in the chat now. Stormy Jules, hello there. It's getting a bit late. Yep, I'll see you there tomorrow, mate. Yep. Who else we got? We've got Gerald Kane. Hello, sir. And there's people saying hello to each other. Awesome stuff. Okay, so the topical conversations today will be what is it? The Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, and Ahsoka. So that's pretty cool. But now let's get our guests on. So first off, we have Martyn Long from a long time ago. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Stu. Thanks for having me on, mate.
No, absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. All right, hang on a minute.
Hope Shabby got to see that intro because that was fantastic.
Yeah. No expense spared, mate. No expense spared there. We've got Kieran. Hello, sir. How are you? Nice of you to join us. Jeff Barker, another guest. Hello, sir. It's been a while.
Yep. Hey, everybody.
How are you? All good?
I am good. And I want to second that. The Shabby intro was quite well done.
yeah, he does. He looks so much younger with that hair color now, doesn't he?
He does. It's crazy.
We've got VTR Dave. Hello, sir.
Dave.
How are you?
Everybody in the chat.
I'm guessing I'll be seeing you tomorrow, VTR, up at NEC. And last but not least, we have Ed 5. G'day, mate.
G'day, lads. How are we?
I'm all right. How are you?
I am fantastic for this time of the morning. It's a much more respectable hour than it was yesterday. So we're doing well.
You've been getting around. You've been getting around. I'm surprised Matt didn't label you like shit in the field, getting everywhere.
Well, it's one of those things I can't stay in one place too long. Otherwise, I might get eaten.
Sorry, I missed that because you bad connection. So I do apologise for that.
I said I might get eaten if I stay around too long. You know, I mean, this is Australia. Everything wants to bite you or eat you or sting you or kill you. So
yeah, that's why I've got no interest in going to Australia. No chance. And that's just the insects. Oh yeah, Riley. Yeah. So like I say, we've got certain topics to discuss this evening. Plus, we've got the Star Wars trivia quiz, which is always good fun. But I just wanted to get your opinions on certain things just quickly before we start. So Only One sent me a video the other day from DWD Pro YouTube channel, and they've been chatting about certain things, Disney, Hasbro, and Lucasfilm, and some of the stuff. I think I forwarded it on to you, Martin. But so Disney so far, excuse me, are 65% down on their merch sales. And I think that's across the board, not Star Wars. Disney are also 40% down on their retail space. Again, I think that's across the board. More money than the combined years of Disney ownership. That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. It was also said that Hasbro felt let down by Disney because they thought Star Wars was more aimed at boys, but Disney have gone towards making it more in line with girls and stuff like that. So we can discuss that. Hasbro decided to change the scale of action figures with the 6-inch Black Series line, where Star Wars has previously been all about the world building of 3.75 inch. So there's a new scale of figure coming out. And also the last bit I want to mention is Lucasfilm do not want to release any data on the prequel trilogy or original trilogy to Hasbro, thinking that they are in the past and it's about moving forward. So what is your take on that? And Martin, you watched the video, I'm assuming. So just have your take on it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, really, isn't there? I mean, the thing that shocked me the most, but kind of didn't shock me, was the amount of sales difference there were between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy figures compared to the sequel trilogy figures. And part of me thinks, well, you know, kids don't play with toys as much as they did when I was a kid, so I think that's just a natural progression. You're not going to sell as many. But then the other side of it is, you know, they're not producing the amounts of figures or the actual figures that we want as collectors. I mean, I can't speak for, you know, kids going out and buying toys, obviously, but I just think, you know, over the past 10 years as a collector, I've noticed the prices going up and up and up. And after watching that video, I kind of felt, well, I kind of understand now why they're going up and up, because they're trying to cover the costs of that, losing all of the money they've lost from, you know, the sales over the last 10, 12, however many years it is. You know, that was the shocker to me. I mean, it was a fantastic video. And as I say, put a link for somebody out there. It was a great watch. But I think overall, it just wasn't surprising, everything he was saying.
What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, it's funny, you know, if you look, it feels like if you look at things from a large view, you know, everything comes in waves. Everything has a bell curve to it as far as popularity of stuff goes. And it seems like we're past that bell curve because of COVID. Things got so ramped up and so, you know, so pushed together, you know, as far as let's push stuff out, let's get stuff out. And they're coming down from that now. And that's not sustainable. And so you're seeing this course correction, it seems like right now. What survives this course correction? I don't know. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, because I feel like they're still just kind of throwing darts at the board and seeing what stick, and not a lot of stuff is sticking, except for, you know, like Motu stuff is sticking, and, you know, a few things like that. So it seems like the vintage collection is starting to get some traction, but from Star Wars stuff, it just seems like they're still a lot of, you know, they're kind of lost a little bit. From the merchandising side, I think some of the TV shows are doing okay, but some of them are horrible. You know, I don't know. It's just it feels like they're just shooting darts and trying to see what sticks, and it's not working.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about you, Ed?
Well, again, during COVID, there was, even getting figures and the new media coming out was sort of hit and miss, you know what I mean? So the downside with distribution and stuff during that couple of years was pretty shit awful, really. And the fact that the new media that is coming out, let's face it, if it's not leaning towards the woke females and the community like that, just, you know, is up in arms. It's going to be a happy medium balance. I mean, the OT and even the prequels for that instance was, it is what it is. It was genuine. It was well written. It was well scripted. It was well acted. And you don't have to go so far to the right hand side to make people happy. They're a minority. If they don't like it, they can get the F out of here, because we don't need them. That's not what Star Wars is about. This is a space fantasy. You know what I mean? If you want it to be reality, well, you're barking up the wrong tree. It's simple as that.
Well, that's the thing I wanted to speak to you about, because Hasbro obviously think how popular the toys were back in the 70s and 80s, and kind of it was just a cash cow. Any merchandise to do with Star Wars, it was selling. And I've had people say to me before, and there's one of them in the chat, Wizzy Wizard. He's saying that Star Wars sells. Yes, Star Wars does sell, but it's predominantly either the prequel trilogy that's selling or the original trilogy selling? And Hasbro, you feel that they've been they're a bit aggrieved because when they bought it, it was predominantly aimed at boys. But since Disney have taken over, they have altered that slightly, and they've gone in. Be careful what I say, really, but they have gone girl power quite a bit. I mean, you look at Rey now; she's like, head Jedi or whatever it is. She's the focal point. Then you had Jen in Rogue One. You had that female droid in Solo who was going on about rights and all that sort of stuff. And then who else was there just recently?
You had that purple
and then you got Ahsoka as well. And I mean, Ahsoka's very female heavy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But do you think it's they're just trying to push it too much? Oh, of course, yeah, you had Reva as well.
I don't know.
And Holdo.
I think if you've got a good character that resonates with the audience, like Ahsoka, for example. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. She's a strong character, whether it be in the series or you watch the Clone Wars. She was whether she's your cup of tea or not, she was a well-written or had a well-structured character. And you can look at the Ahsoka sales and they sell out when Ahsoka comes out. Doesn't matter what it is. But then you have a figure like, I don't know if Admiral Holdo was ever released as a figure, but I can't imagine she was anything but a peg warmer because she was a crap character.
She was released as a figure in the Black series. I was stupid enough
in
to
the
buy
Black
her.
series.
I think you're right. I mean, yes, I think they have brought more of the equality and stuff, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. But like you said, if the characters are crap and the plots and the character arcs that are written are crap, then it's going to be crap. And it doesn't matter what gender it is. To me, it doesn't. I can get behind anybody. I can get behind an amoeba as a main character as long as it's written well and they have a good arc and it's done well. It doesn't matter to me. Like the Mon Mothma stuff they were doing in Andor was great. If it's done well, the Ahsoka stuff in Rebels, it was done great. At the the last few seasons, Clone Wars was amazing. I have no problem with the gender stuff at all. It's just that if it's crap stuff, it's crap.
Yeah,
all across the board.
No, I get that.
But it's not just female; it's male as well. I mean, you have figures like EJ from The Last Jedi. I mean, what was that? I mean, it was an awful character, and if that ever came out as an action figure or a a bust or whatever, I can't imagine that would have been a big seller because it was a rubbish character.
Again, he was a peg warmer. He was a peg warmer over here as well. Yeah, Black series.
If he's not on the vintage collection, I've got no idea.
He wouldn't have been in the vintage collection. But the thing is, you saying about.
Oh, Stu, you.
When I was a kid, I didn't buy toys. I wasn't buying the toys. It wasn't me buying the toys. It was my parents buying the toys. So is it a case of now that parents aren't buying the toys for the kids because it's easier for them to have I think this guy was saying it's easier for them to have a PlayStation, Xbox, or a mobile phone and play with that instead of going out and buying toys for their kids and playing. So it's the parents that aren't buying the kids toys and stuff like that. So do you think that's got anything to do with it?
Well, I think we discussed this on My Collecting Life, didn't we? I think, people, they don't go out and play anymore. Not for the most part, anyway. I can't generalize the entire population, but for the most part, they don't go out and play anymore. And they want expensive iPads or smartphones. And they cost so much money that I can imagine that most parents out there can't afford to also buy them toys if they wanted them. It's just crazy, the prices of these things. So, they don't have, again, I don't want to generalize, but, they don't seem to have I've got nieces and nephews and they just don't have the imagination or the will to buy toys and sit there and play with them in their rooms. It's just something that I just don't see anymore. So
well, even with my kids, watching them grow up and stuff, and there was a certain stage very, very early compared to if I base it on myself for argument's sake, where they just stopped playing with toys because that technology age was coming in. I mean, and they had a Wii for argument's sake, and they'd start playing with that, and and it was all about iPads and sitting watching stuff on streaming services and things like that. We as kids, we were out there playing till all hours of the freaking when the lights came down, that's when you had to go home type thing. And you were just out of the house all the time playing with figures, playing bloody Cowboys and Indians or whatever you wanted to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah. G-Force had a good point.
It seems like their imagination's not there anymore as well. Like,
no, there's not.
People they can't think for themselves, you know what I mean? They've got to be stimulated with that things coming in and into their head. They can't just sit down and play with a cat's herd, for example. This is a cat's herd, but I'm playing with my figures.
And I think that
G-Force has a good point there with the 25 to 30. It speaks a little bit to who they're marketing this towards. I mean, you always hear, sometimes that these are for kids and stuff. Well, the 6-inch, the Black Series, the 6-inch stuff, even the new vintage things, they're not made for kids. I don't think as much, especially all the little things.
No.
If they were, they wouldn't be doing the big Hasbro Pulse live streams to introduce all the things. Therefore, the people like us, our age, that has disposable income, and they should be catering towards our age group a little bit more with the storytelling, but they're not, because they're trying to because we are too far along in the customer cycle. They're trying to cultivate that younger crowd to be with them for the next 20, 30 years. We're at the middle to tail end of that, and so they don't cater to us with the storytelling as much.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right on that.
So Kieran Paul's made a point. Oh, sorry. Just going to say, Kieran Paul's made a point. Young children still have an imagination, but once they get older, that is replaced by modern tech. Why should a child articulate a plastic toy when they can control an avatar with a? Absolutely, yeah.
Really good point.
Yeah, and eventually.
Absolutely. Sorry, Ed. What was you going to say, mate?
I was just going to say that kids today have massive thumbs. If you've noticed that from all the gaming and stuff, like it's like Popeye thumbs.
Yeah, I've just got to say my internet connection isn't the greatest, so if it cuts in and out, I do apologise. I don't know what's going on with it. It's a bit of a nightmare at the moment, but
I do fear as well that all these, all the children that have grown up, they've stopped playing with toys and don't use their imagination and use their iPads and get all of their fun from screens. Those are the future screenwriters that are going to grow up and write Star Wars, or maybe some of them have started writing Star Wars now, and perhaps that's another reason why we're not getting quite the inspired storytelling, not in just Star Wars, but just in general, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Got in the past.
But think about that too. I mean, I'm sure there was a generation before us that said the same thing about us. Where it's like, you guys aren't playing with Cowboys and Indian stuff anymore. You're playing with or Daniel Boone or whatever it was at the time. You're now playing with these little figures. It's like that's not. I have a hard time sometimes. I need to stop myself from being the grumpy old man saying, "Why don't you guys do the things that we used to do?"
Sounding like my dad,
it's like you kids get off my yard sort of thing. It's like trends move on, and we are at the tail end of our trend, trying to keep hold of it still.
Yeah. So who do you think who would you say was at fault then? Is it Disney? Is it Lucasfilm? I mean, look, they know how successful the original trilogy of Star Wars was. They know.
Oh, that's a good freeze.
Section, but it's still done quite well selling merchandise and stuff like that. And so why aren't they giving this information to Hasbro about what figures they should be doing?
Because they don't want spoilers as well. Like they hold on to that stuff and keep it so behind lock and key that I think the main reason why everything's been pushed back so far is, Hasbro blames on tooling, but most of the stuff is just kit bashed anyway. There's not a real lot of retooling, especially with the TVC stuff. And it seems like they push it back and they've only got a certain budget to put out so many things. But again, the Black Series can have, what have they got? 6 or 7 new figures for Ahsoka at the moment. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference. Like it's just. I mean,
is the Black Series is the Black? We're going back to. I'll come back to that point in a minute. But yes, I know they want to keep things behind closed doors. They want to keep things a secret and not give any spoilers. I get that, but there's still so many other figures that they can release from the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy that haven't been released in, say, that TVC and even still in, the Black series. So do you think it's because it's budget restraints they got? Because remember, back in the day with Kenner, they had a budget and it was just for 3 3/4-inch figures. Now you've got Micro Galaxy, you've got the Black series that they're doing, and then you've got Hasbro that have got all these other toy lines that they want to do as well, like G.I. Joe, and so they've got to split the money evenly. And so do you think that's got something to do with it?
Again, Hasbro also had G.I. Joe and Star Wars back when we were kids, but like, you walk in and it was wall full, they're just pumping that stuff out continuously. Like, there was no stopping. There was no time when you couldn't find a figure. It was all just there all the time. You know what I mean? You could go in, you could pick up what you needed, and then, and marvel at what you just still needed to get. But
that was 3 3/4 inch, though, Ed, wasn't it? That was 3 3/4 inch.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, the 3 3/4 inch, or even the even go on that bit higher with Masters of the Universe, if you want to go down that path. You know what I mean? They were all still there, hanging in the shop. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't matter if it was Century, it could be anything. You know what I mean? You name any toy line that we grew up with, and they were always in the shop, you know what I mean? So, but
Dave.
Now you go into any a store and they've got like 2 pegs, and half of it is people that are like Landos. You got 50 Landos on 1 peg because nobody wants it, and the other peg is empty because they've already picked dry. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. Like,
VTR makes a good point. VTR makes a good point. It's about time for new content. Disney / Hasbro can't keep making money from remakes and nostalgia. It is, but I've said loads of times before, I just don't think that the writing isn't there. I don't think that again, I've got to be careful what I say, but I'm going to say it anyway. This generation, I don't think, of younger people have got that imagination to write what was written 40 odd years ago. I really don't, because it's easy to get something that's already been done before, and then put their own spin on it and twist on it, as opposed to writing something completely new and completely different. We've seen it in films. I mean, in Marvel Cinematic Universe. Look, listen, up to I think it was Phase 3, I thought was fantastic, but now it's crap. It's gone downhill.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because it's like I honestly have been, yes, I will always watch Marvel and Star Wars stuff as it comes out, just because hopefully it hits, and sometimes it does. Look at Andor. But I've also started turning out towards outside of those mainstream ones, those the intellectual properties. Started watching Foundation series on some of the streaming services, Invasion, or some of the other stuff that's a little more sci-fi oriented. Things that are really good. I went through the Expanse TV series about a year ago that was just blew me away. Things like that are just amazing. I want to go see the new Creator movie that's supposed to be really good. I haven't heard anything, but that's the kind of stuff that if it hits, 1 in 20 is going to hit and stick around, maybe have a sequel or 2 and start producing merchandise. Maybe, I don't know, but that's the kind of stuff it seems like it's neat just to keep that refreshness going, because there's no freshness in the things that's coming out now from the Star Wars universe, it seems like.
But then you look at a film like Avatar and its sequel, which I think are number 1 and number 3 in the all-time, biggest box office in the history of cinema. And do you ever see an Avatar toy?
No.
Well, they did bring out the Avatar toys for the last movie that came out, and that you're right there, because the simple fact they've already made. There's supposed to be 5 of those Avatar movies. They've already filmed 3 and 4 as well, which are about to come out. Again, those are the 2. And
they're going to keep making them because
selling franchises.
Even if they're crap, they're still making money because the general public still goes and sees them. Yeah. And it's funny how crap they are.
But out of the $2 billion or whatever it is that he took each, there must have been a lot of kids that watch those films. And again, where's the toy sales? I mean,
it's not there.
It's not there. So I'm assuming that I don't know about the first film because it was a while ago, but the second film, there's obviously been toys, and I've never seen a toy in this country for Avatar. I've got to be honest, and I spend a lot of time looking for toys.
Yeah.
But so I think that in itself says a lot, doesn't it? that the fact that they're not even, it's not hitting toys in general.
We had a lot of toy stuff here in the States for Avatar, but it's already in clearance.
Yeah.
GeForce has been buying things up in clearance to give away as Christmas presents to needy kids.
Wow. I was going to say, only one has made a good point. Never underestimate the damage those sequels did. Yes, Star Wars seems to be an adult market nowadays. Episodes 7 and is that 8?
8 and 9.
8
and 9. Sorry, yeah, I'm rubbish. 8 and 9 saw a lot of them off as well. Bleak, and it is. But back in the. Is someone got like a Tweety bird?
Oh, it's, the bird's outside. It's daytime.
Do you want to tell them to wind the neck in? We're trying to have a conversation.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yes.
That's okay. No,
yeah.
I was only joking. But back in the day, it was like Star Wars was all about the Star Wars merch. It doesn't matter whether it was lunch boxes, painting sets, masks, cereal boxes, figures. It was all to do with the merch, and that's why George Lucas did that deal that he did, saying that he wanted to keep, all the money that was made from merchandise and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He done so fantastically well with that. And I think since Disney have acquired Star Wars, I just think it's not been great, is it?
No, I mean, it's indicative when you go to one of the parks and you go to Galaxy's Edge. I remember the first time I was at Galaxy's Edge, I was like, this is going to be great. And for some reason, it didn't click with me. I knew it. It didn't click with me. When I walked in, I'm like, oh, this is all first order. I don't care. It's cool and it's amazing, but it's like, oh, this isn't. I don't see a real stormtrooper. I don't see. I agree. Yeah. I don't see. Yeah, it was crazy.
They're all about pushing that Disney franchise, and
it's the new stuff, and I kind of get it from I'm in marketing as a profession, and I've done this for 35 years, and I get that they want to go with the new fresh stuff, but man, do it well.
Yeah, that's all you got to do is just get it right and do it well.
The other thing about...
Sorry, go on, Martin. Sorry.
No, I was going to say the last thing about...
go on.
You brought up Galaxy's Edge, but Disney in general, it's just it's indicative of what you said started at the beginning, Stu. When you go into all the stores, it doesn't matter which park you go into or which store you go into, it's so sparsely laid out in those shops. And I'm sure there's a marketing reason for that. But the options of what you can buy are very, very slim. I mean, there's probably 20 products, Star Wars products, defined products that you can buy in a store, not 50, 60, 70 products. So you've got no real choice when you go to the Disney parks.
It's all the same thing.
It's all the same thing, exactly. So I think that's another thing that, they're not particularly doing well on, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed a difference. I went in 2019 and 2018, and the amount of Star Wars stuff that they had in the Disney parks they had a lot. And then I went back in 2022, and it just seemed there wasn't hardly anything there at all, really, and it was such a shame. It was such a shame. So this wasn't the reason why. Oh, hi, Shabby.
It's the dead
right, listen, as you've just joined us, mate, I'm just going to
Shabby
intro again. This is just for you, Shabby, just for you. So here we go.
This live stream is brought to you by Just for Shabby Hair Care. Tell that grey to go away and be the younger man that you want to be, just like Shabby.
That's for you, Shabby, mate, just in case you missed it. All about you, sir. And just a disclaimer, I made no money on that advert whatsoever. So, yeah.
Ooh, it's so finely done. It's so finely done.
Oh, there you are. There he is.
I want to know what was he looking to say pissed off at the end there? Like it didn't work for him, or
there you go, mate. That's awesome stuff. So yeah.
Well, Shabby, I'm like 8 years older than you, and my hair is not that gray.
You got only one on there as well. Awesome. And Gerard,
Yeah,
nice one.
fantastic.
Okay, so we talk about the things that we were planning to talk about, and that is the Clone Wars series. So when Lucasfilm decided they were going to be doing an animated series or an animated film and call it the Clone Wars, I was very, very skeptical. I've got to say, I thought that was a wrong move. Mind you, say with the way I think some of the things I think are pretty rubbish. I mean, look at the Ghost. So there you are. But I didn't think that was going to be great. But I liked it. And so, Jeff, what about you? What did you think when it first came out?
I was the same way. I never really got into Clone Wars, and I've had to go back and rewatch it because I just had. And again, this goes back to the movies and everything. I just don't care about prequels as much because I know what's going to happen to those characters. So it's hard for me. But then when I kind of force myself to get over that hump, I get into the stuff. And I really got into Rebels. At the time when Rebels was on, to me, it was the most Star Wars thing out there at the time when it came out.
Yeah.
And so it made me go back and rewatch a lot of Clone Wars, and I've watched most of it now. And I love it now. But it really changes the character arcs and the characters for me a lot of those characters, especially for Anakin and stuff. But I just think Rebels is still. I just rewatched it again to get ready for Ahsoka, and I still think it's probably one of the best things out there for Star Wars in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it was such a. Because again, we had after the Return of the Jedi, there was nothing for so long, and then all of a sudden we had these sort of animated series come out, and that's the only Star Wars we had apart from reading books or comics. You know what I mean? And the fact that the good thing about whether it be clones or stormtroopers, they cannon fodder. You know what I mean? Like, so they can just produce as much of that stuff as they want because everyone loves the troop build and watch the troops go in, all the grunts go in and just go hell for leather. You know what I mean? So the main characters were fantastic, but it's all about those troops and the clones. I'm still waiting for them to make the Clown Wars, which would be awesome, but there's nothing wrong with the Clone Wars whatsoever.
Well, I mean, so I'll get your opinion in a minute, Martin, because I know that you're a big fan of Clone Wars. But when I first came out, that was back in 1974. I was too young to know what the Clone Wars was then. I mean, when it first came out, I didn't care too much for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit. I don't know, all to do with Jabba being in it and stuff like that, and his little son and stuff. And I just thought, well, I wasn't too keen. But then they released the Clone Wars series, and I know you had the Genki Tartakovsky shorts before that. Yeah. And again, I wasn't too impressed with that.
Nope.
I've changed my mind a lot now. But the Clone Wars, I thought was absolutely fantastic the way they did it, and the stories they told, and it was about the clones, and you get to see the other side of the clones, and characters like Dooku, you get to see him more because you didn't really see too much of him in the film. So you get character building of Count Dooku. Mm-hmm. Ahsoka, I thought, was a whiny little shit when she came into it, and I wasn't impressed with her at all. She's got her own bloody show now, so she's done all right for herself, hasn't she?
But Asajj Ventress as well. Like you had
what a great character!
Asajj.
What a great character she was.
Fantastic.
It'd be great to see her in live action. But Martin, what do you think? Because I know you're a big fan.
I'll try and keep this short.
Okay.
Well, it had a rough start, the Clone Wars. I'll fully admit that. I wasn't a big fan of Ahsoka to start with, and the movie wasn't fantastic. But there's three things I love about the Clone Wars. The first thing is it put the wars in Star Wars. There was a lot of episodes. One that springs to mind, one of my favorite episodes, landing at Point Rain, where they go back to Geonosis for the second Battle of Geonosis, and it, I would argue that it's one of the most well-produced animated war, 20 minutes of war that you'll ever see. The camera work in it is fantastic. It just feels like you're in the trenches with the clones and the Jedi. I love that part of it. Second thing I love about the Clone Wars was it finished stories that were told about in the prequels. Little things like the Master Sifo Dyas and how the whole thing went down with the clones being ordered and Dooku, using Jango Fett as the the DNA for the clones, etc.
That was amazing.
And it was great.
Yeah, really
and,
good.
You know, and there was lots of things like that, and how they discovered the clones had the chips in their heads for Order 66 and stuff like that. You know, that was fantastic. And also, you know, just quickly, how Palpatine was, you know, people find the politics in the prequels boring. I love it. But, you know, little things like how Palpatine took control of the banking clan so that he had control of the finances of the galaxy in order to pay for the Death Star. The sort of stuff most people find boring, but I
love that world building stuff.
Yeah. But most of all, the thing I most of all love about the Clone Wars is it didn't explain the Force more, because I don't want the Force to be particularly explained that much, but it gave us so much depth into the mysticism of the Force. Particularly, you know, the Mortis trilogy, but most of all, Qui-Gon, how Qui-Gon was able to, you know, appear or teach Yoda how to, you know, to commune with the Force, and, you know, so that the Jedi in the future, when they died, could come back as Force ghosts. I mean, that's quite, you know, it could have been left, and I would understand that, but I found that stuff fascinating, and I absolutely love anything to do with the mysticism of the Force. It's my favorite part of Star Wars. So yeah, I mean, rough start, but as Adam and I always say when we talk about the Clone Wars, you know, it gave you so much meat on the bone.
Definitely.
To you know, pad out the prequels and give you so much, but not just the prequels, the original trilogy as well. You know, it gave you a lot more information for that, and it will for always be one of my favorite Star Wars series, films, whatever. Out there, I absolutely love the Clone Wars. It was great.
I kind of regret not sticking with it.
Oh no, you can always go back to it, Jeff.
I know, but that's, I mean, as it was coming out, you know, I couldn't get past that first season and those movies and those shorts. It's like, I just can't do it.
The thing is with the first season for me, and I think it was like that all the way through season 2 and about halfway through season 3, is that the storylines were never, the arcs weren't completed. So you'd start off with one story arc, and then the next week it would be another story arc. So it was kind of out of sequence. It was only, I think, halfway through season 3 where they kept all the story arcs together. Once they did that, I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. The animation was really good. I mean, you know, the storytelling I thought was really good. You had the occasional dead rubber in there for just like an episode filler and stuff like that. But on the whole, there was so much backstory going on with these different characters that you didn't really get to see too much of in the films and stuff like that. And I know it's all about Anakin and Obi-Wan and you know, you had the things like Rex and Cody and you know, and the 501st. There was so much depth in those episodes. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Especially towards the end of the, you know, because I think it was up to season 6, weren't they? And then Disney bought out Lucasfilm, and then they cut
out season 6, which was Lost Missions, which was 12 episodes, and then Disney brought it back for another 12 episodes. And unfortunately, I mean, personally, I only really enjoyed the last 4 episodes of the Disney season 7. You know, the first 2 arcs. I mean, the Bad Batch was okay, but whatever. Again, it was kind of a bit of a Disney agenda for the next arc. The something sisters or something that Ahsoka teams up with to try and steal some spice from the Pikes or something. I don't know, but yeah, overall, it's just such a great show. And of course, there's some rubbish episodes. There's that 4-part arc where C-3PO and R2-D2 are, you know, hunting down through a desert or something with a load of other droids. I mean,
that little Jiminy Cricket character.
Yeah, Bieber Gascoigne. But for the most part, it's a great show. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they've not done a figure of him, to be honest with you, Martin.
That
little character.
It would be cheap for Hasbro, wouldn't it?
Well, no, they'll probably still charge a full whack, about $20 for that, or something like 20 quid. Yeah. I mean, look, I wasn't too keen on the Gengi stuff or the Gendy stuff. And I think it's phenomenal. I mean, I really like the style of it. I like the way what they did with that, and I think that gets overlooked quite a bit as well.
Oh yeah, the final season where you see Shakti trying to stop the Chancellor being kidnapped by General Grievous. That's a fantastic lead up into episode 3, and I wish that was canon. It was, and the deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith. You see Grievous has captured her, and he kills Shakti, doesn't he? So it's kind of in my eyes it's canon anyway. But yeah, it's such a great. I love the Gendy series. It was fantastic.
But and also what it did as well, it gave me a much better appreciation of this the prequel trilogy for sure, because I saw Attack of the Clones, and I will be honest, I come out of the theater watching that, and I was a little bit disappointed. I thought, oh god, it's just like a Juliet in space type sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It was I just so disappointed. And they it was way too much usage of CGI. They overdid it on the CGI. But what they've done with the Clone Wars, it changed the way I felt about those prequel films for sure, definitely. I mean, what about you, Ed? I mean, did it change anything?
Well, I've actually just finished again last night. I just rewatched Attack of the Clones, and after, especially now getting into Ahsoka as well, but. Rewatching Rebels before Ahsoka, rewatching sort of all the Clone Wars stuff, and then going back and finishing off with that Attack of the Clones at the end. It makes a lot more sense now. The thing I like most about the Attack of the Clones is the interaction between the clones and the Jedi to start with as well. Like it's building that relationship up before the Order 66, and then they'll turn the trigger turns and they all slaughter them all. You know what I mean? But the whole Dooku arc as well, and the Jango Fett with the Caminos, that stuff makes a lot more sense now, and fits in a lot better. With the Clone Wars cartoons and stuff like that as well. So I can't fault it. Again, I mean, Attack of the Clones is probably I like that a lot better than the Phantom Menace type thing, because that's when sort of you see that dark side of Anakin really coming out as well. Yeah, when he slaughters all the Tuscans, for example. Yeah, and he kills them like animals. Like he's the women, the children. Like he makes a point of stating that the Padman that I just went to town on and killed all the women and children as well. And it's almost like he loved it. Like he gets that power surge. Like, I can take it. I can be the all greatest thing. And that was his la moment, if you want. Like it was like, even though his mother died and he had to bury his mother as well. And that is the pivotal turning point of Anakin. Like that's when he starts down that dark path, is when he slaughters those Tuscans, and then his head's not quite there when he's facing off against Dooku as well, and that's why he loses his arm, for argument's sake, as well. So that part of the movie really does it for me, and moving forward into like the what we're seeing now, especially with Ahsoka and Anakin coming back in Ahsoka as well. That stuff it's gelling very well now. I mean, love it.
You touched on a bit about where Anakin slaughters all those Tuscans in episode 2. So you see the dark side of him forming in there. You also see that in a few of the episodes of the Clone Wars. I think there's one of the when he's interrogating one of the prisoners, and he's force chokes him, or he does whatever to try and get out of him the information. And then you see that Mortis trilogy as well, where I thought that was absolutely fantastic, the way they did that. And he saw into the future about what he would be. Then they wiped his memory, sort of thing, so he wouldn't remember. And it was like
the other thing the Clone Wars did as well is it, when you will see episode 3, and I love the prequels, but episode 3, there's always this. Well, hang on a minute. Why is Anakin so frustrated with the Council all of a sudden? But you see through the Clone Wars why Anakin is frustrated with the Jedi Council, and why he doesn't feel they're on his side, because they tell those stories in the Clone Wars, and that's quite a take Padme aside, that's quite a large part of why he turns to the dark side of the Force. So again, it just fills those gaps in, and as someone's written in the comments, it makes the prequels 10 times better than they were. It's great. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, like you say, it was getting to, I think, episode 6, and then they stopped filming because Disney brought them out, and then they went on to Rebels. Now, that was one of the series where I really look forward to seeing the next episode, the Clone Wars. I really did, because some of the story arcs. I mean, they brought back Darth Maul. Again, that's another conversation. Should they have killed him off in the first place? In my opinion, no. But he came back, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic with his brother Savage. But what I would have liked to have seen was more of what happened between him and Emperor Palpatine, or Chancellor Palpatine at the time, because they sort of left that after that those two faced off with Palpatine, but then everything else was done with that story. I think with comics and stuff like that. I would have loved to have seen that visually.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have loved to see that visually.
Yeah, it was interesting to me watching that, how he was all about the revenge part of it, whether it was to Jedis or to Palpatine, to anybody. He was out to get them all, and it made him a much more compelling villain and character. I mean, he was amazing to begin with, but just the mystery around him and stuff. But then, I don't know, the way they brought him back. In fact, I kind of went back and rewatched that last duel with him and Ahsoka was it Clone Wars or Rebels? I think I get it mixed up sometimes, but the footwork and the animation in that was so good. And I realized I did some research on it and found that they did some motion capture with him.
Yes. That was episode. That was season 7, wasn't it? With Ahsoka.
Yeah, final season of Clone Wars. The actual lightsaber fight was so amazingly well done. Probably one of the best lightsabers fights I've ever seen done in Star Wars. And they actually did motion capture and animated to that, and it was just it's absolutely amazing. But I love how they completed his arc.
I thought it was I thought he was such a fantastic character, and you're absolutely spot on with that fight scene. Brett's got a question. Was it ever explained how Anakin was allowed to take on a Padawan, Ahsoka, even though he was not made a Jedi Master? Martin.
Well, it was a certain type of view, Brett, as to why Anakin could Anakin thought he was a Jedi Master in his own lunchbox, you know what I mean? So in his head, in his own lunchbox, from a certain point of view, he was a Jedi Master. So therefore, he's just taken on a Padawan himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's from a certain point of view, but I mean, I don't know whether it was ever mentioned or anything like that. So I
have a bit of. I mean, this isn't canon as we've discussed, but in the Genndy Tarkovsky series, Anakin defeats Asajj Ventress, which in that series, Yoda then knights him as a Jedi Knight. So you could, if you want to make that canon, that would give you the explanation. But I also think that when the Clone Wars started, the Jedi knew they were in trouble, and as we know, they had to start bringing their young Padawans in to fight in the war as commanders and generals. So the Jedi Council probably just started promoting, all the Jedi very quickly.
They kind of had to.
They had to, exactly, and that's something we kind of discovered in Ahsoka, wasn't it? In the flashback scenes, that they threw these young kids who were meant to be training as guardians of peace and justice, and they threw them into the war as commanders. So, would that be an explanation? I don't know, but that's how.
Well, that's kind of the crux of the flashback scene in Ahsoka when she's younger. Is all of a sudden I'm no longer a learner; I'm actually a soldier, and I'm not a peacekeeper. I'm a soldier, and for some of the issues I have with Ahsoka, I thought that part was really well done to explain that she never really got to be a kid. She never really got to be a Padawan. She just got thrown in to be a soldier. Goji, I kind of agree with you, Goji, on that a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into that a bit in a minute, because I do have a thought on that. So halfway through season 6, they decided that they weren't going to be doing it anymore, and then they moved on to Rebels. Now, I've got to say, I wasn't really into Rebels, if I'm honest. I thought, like Goji said, that the characters weren't that great at the time. I didn't like the animation compared to what it was with Clone Wars. But then after season 2, I started to get into it more, and the storyline started and the characters developed a bit more. So, yeah, I think at first the characters were flat, and I think they will be the same pretty much within season 1 of Ahsoka as well. It's getting to know those characters. Now I know the characters, I don't mind them so much as live action characters. I mean, I don't know whether you guys feel the same or what your thoughts were on Rebels.
Again, Ezra was hard to take in season 1. He was the Anakin, the whiny little bitch of the Rebel series. But again, a bit like Mando. So season 1 of Mando was great because we had all those sort of little bits out of the OT put in the background, and Rebels was the same. Like it brought it all together nicely, is because it had a lot of the OT scattered throughout the whole Rebel series, and it's what sort of made it more relatable and made it Star Wars, in my opinion, is the fact that they had all those bits of the OT all the way through it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree. He was a little tough to take at first, and I kind of hate the trope of starting out a series focused on a little kid. Ever since the prequels, you got Bad Batch doing the same thing. You got Rebels doing the same thing. Clone Wars turned into that to some degree.
Do you think it's because it's supposed to be aimed at kids, though? That's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, it was
the only reason.
It was on the Disney animation channel, and yeah, it very well could have been. And I think you're probably right. But by second season, he was starting to, as a character, he was kind of calming down and become a little bit more adult oriented. And he turned out to be a great character. And I think,
definitely.
Yeah, I think all of them really turned out. But you're right. It was interesting to make that leap from cartoon to live action with them too.
Yeah. Yeah. Martyn?
Yep.
I have a really hard time with Rebels. I disliked it immensely. The first season, I thought I was just really disappointed that Disney created this Aladdin character, and I thought the animation was a real step down from the Clone Wars. What they were doing, but I did come to enjoy it more and more as it came on, and there was kind of a rule to Rebels that I had, that the premiere to a season and the finale to a season were always must watch, and everything in between was just meh. In my opinion, it got towards the end. I mean, season 4, it was less like that. But, when you had the Vader turning up at the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2, awesome. And I felt that was the other problem I felt with Rebels. It was only, in my opinion, it was only ever good when they brought in legacy characters. I felt that the crew of the Ghost couldn't really stand on their own a lot of the time. They had to bring in these legacy characters in order to make the stories enjoyable for me. Again, towards the end, that definitely stopped because Kanan was awesome by the end. Ezra got a lot better. Sabine annoyed me a lot. Ezra annoyed me a lot. And actually, I think since Ahsoka's come out, I've actually come to, it's made me enjoy Rebels more now that Ahsoka's out than it did at the time. And I find Ezra and Sabine less annoying now than I did when I was watching them in animated form. So, I mean, that's all I can really say about Rebels. I mean, I do enjoy it, but it's not one of my favorites.
So, Martyn, you mentioned you really liked the mystical aspects of the Force and the storytelling. What do you think of the direction they took that in Rebels, as far as the world between worlds stuff and all of the three masters? And to me, it's absolutely amazing what they're doing with that. I just love the expansion of the Forces stuff, the Night Sister stuff they've brought in now for Ahsoka as well. They had that in Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come on to Ahsoka, but I love Ahsoka. It's probably my favorite series that Disney have released so far, and I will explain that later because I know Andor is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I enjoy the references to the Mortis gods. I think that's great because every religion, if you like, because the Force is a religion or the Jedi is a religion. They have things way back in the past or legends and myths, and I love all of that. The World Between Worlds frightened me a lot when that was first introduced, because I was thinking, I was thinking the only good thing that can come out of this is if they make the sequel trilogy not actually ever exist. That was probably the only thing I could see that would come out of this. But after watching Ahsoka, I feel more now that the World Between Worlds is more like, I don't know, how Luke experienced the cave when he went into Dagobah. That's the sort of it's like the trials, the Jedi trials. So
that's a good point.
I think
definitely.
Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka, perhaps she was never a Jedi Knight because she left the Jedi Order. And of course, we all know in order to become a Jedi Knight, you have to pass the trials. And I think her going into the World Between Worlds in that episode of Ahsoka and being taught her last lesson by Anakin was her trials. And she emerged. And I think people make too much of Ahsoka the White, to be honest with you. I just think that's a bit of a gimmick. I think she emerged from the World Between Worlds as Ahsoka the Jedi Knight. But yeah, I sorry, I'm going on. But yeah, the mystical part of the Force, I absolutely love it. I think it's great.
Me too.
Yeah.
So when they first did Rebels, it was a nod to the artwork by Ralph McQuarrie. The way that the way the TIE fighters looked, the way the stormtroopers looked, the way Vader looked. So I've got to say, I did like that. I appreciated that. I did think that was. I thought that was pretty cool how they did that and what have you and stuff like that. So I mean, the animation itself, I wasn't a great fan of. I prefer the animation from, like I said, I think from season 3. I think the story started to get really in depth and a bit more in line with how I see Star Wars in my own head, with the stories being a lot more solid and not these throwaway episodes and stuff like that. Because I mean, you know, seasons 1 and 2, Ezra did goof around quite a bit, and then I thought Chopper was annoying. I didn't really think much of Zeb, to be honest with you.
Chopper.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, you know, they turned it around, and from season 3 onwards, they done a good job. And of course, Rebels then led into just before Rogue One, wasn't it? That's where that was sort of like leading up to. Yeah. But then they decided to bring back Clone Wars for a final season, 7th season. And I've got to say, I was absolutely blown away by the last, I think the first 3 episodes were full of episodes with those 2 sisters, which annoyed the shit out of me.
The Martez sisters,
Yeah. Oh, God. That was why? Yeah, it does make you wonder and ask the question why they've got to do that sometimes with these series. But I thought from the Siege on Mandalore, I thought was absolutely tremendous. And that fight scene that you sort of mentioned, I thought was cool. And I like the ending as well, where it transferred from Ahsoka standing there to Anakin standing there in the snow and stuff like that. And I just thought that was incredible. Yeah.
It's funny you say that about the animation, because like I didn't watch Clone Wars until going back later. And going back and watching those early episodes, I actually really cringe at the animation style in those, because it's like, oh God, that's just horrible looking. But then it gets better for me, and I just have, you know, that style is, you can kind of, on all of them, you can kind of take it or leave it sometimes. But it's interesting that you were talking about the artwork, how the artwork at the end of Rebels, and now they're doing that here. It kind of ties in, like the artwork on the wall, the three masters. It's kind of, you know, that the Ralph McQuarrie stuff, they're tying that in, and it's such a it's such an integral part of who Thrawn is too, as far as analyzing artwork about his enemies, which they haven't really got to in Ahsoka, but in the books and all that kind of stuff, that's one of his main things he does. And you know, Sabine being an artist, it's like the artwork stuff is a thread throughout a lot of this stuff that is really kind of fascinating.
And a lot of her art, I noticed at the start of on Hera's jacket, for example, at the start of Ahsoka, with like the flaming phoenix and all that sort of stuff. So that it's cool that they try and keep that, if you want, those elements all the way through type things. So.
Was it season 7 that they brought in the Bad Batch, or was it season?
It was the
6?
first 4 seasons of season 7. First
4 episodes. Yeah. Well, let's you know, there was another animated series which was totally shite, and that was Resistance. Did any of you guys watch that?
I've never watched it.
No, I
Yeah,
haven't actually
you're not
seen
missing
it.
much.
No,
You're not
that's
missing
the
much.
one Star Wars property I've never watched.
Yeah, well, listen, I think you should treat yourselves. Actually, I changed my mind. I think you should treat yourselves. Again, it's educational.
Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi wasn't bad.
Yeah, I enjoyed Tales of the Jedi. Well,
Yeah, there's some
of the arcs
There's some
were
good
great,
one-off episodes there.
Vision.
What was that?
Vision
Sorry, I
War.
missed that because it went all. What's it? What were you talking about? Sorry.
Tales of the Jedi. That there's some really good.
Oh
one-off-
yes, yeah, there was that as well.
There's some
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good one-off episodes in there.
The
Yeah.
Visions.
Ahsoka arcs were great. Yeah.
Visions. I mean, listen, I can appreciate that for what it is, and that's fan made stories and stuff like that. So
Right.
I'm not going to knock that. I mean, because people have put their heart and soul into that, and so listen, some of them were good, some of them weren't that great, but I can appreciate them for what they are. But yeah, don't like going back to Resistance. Don't ever watch that. That is absolute pants. That is terrible. Tales of the Jedi. Yeah, that was decent.
Yeah,
The
there's some good
Dooku
episodes.
stories and stuff like that. I thought that was
Bad
pretty
Batch.
cool. Bad Batch. Listen, I like that, and I like the way it tied in with what's his name, Kanan Jarrus at the beginning. I
Yeah.
thought that was quite clever.
Yeah,
And it's good. Sorry,
it's
go
gotten
on.
better. It's gotten a lot better too. I think.
Yeah.
And yes, there are some standalone type episodes in that show, a fair amount. But there's a good story arc that runs through it of those guys kind of escaping and starting to do their own thing and trying to find their own way. Yeah, Brett, it sure was.
Yeah.
I think I watched one episode of it. I'm like, I can't do this. But yeah, I'm actually really liking Bad Batch, even though the kid's annoying.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there was a 3-part finale of season 2, and I sat there and I watched them all together, and I felt that if that had been turned into live action the way it was directed, that would have been a sort of Star Wars film, live action film that I would have fallen in love with at the cinema. It was so well made, those last 3 episodes of season 2, and if anybody's not seen them, just watch those 3 episodes. You don't even have to know the characters. It was so well made. Even the camera work in it, everything was just felt so Star Wars. So
Yeah.
I think it's improving and improving the Bad Batch.
Yep, it definitely is.
Yeah. So for me, Bad Batch, I like seeing that transition between the Republic and the
Empire,
and the Imperial Navy and all that sort of stuff. I find that stuff kind of interesting because we didn't really ever get to see that in any of the films, did we? Or live? Well, I suppose Andor. But this is going like a little bit deeper into it, and I find that kind of interesting. I like to see that transition between clones and stormtroopers and stuff
Me
like
too.
that.
I like to see the military, like Brandon was saying, sometimes they don't make decisions like a command decision would or a command structure would. I actually really love seeing, that's why I like the Army build, I think, is just because I like to see that structure of, I wish we saw that more of the Imperial structure of what those command decisions were like and how things got done. I just want to see a squad a day of a squad at work and see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good call.
But, yeah. So there's going to be another season of Bad Batch, isn't there? I think it's the 3rd and final season.
I think so.
And when's that due out?
I think it's next year. But unfortunately, like many of the Disney shows that are coming out now, they seem to want to pigeonhole how they managed to bring Palpatine back in Rise of Skywalker. It looks like they're going to go down how they, they're researching the cloning technology with the Kaminoans.
Caminos, yeah.
It's a shame that they have to keep doing that. They did it with the last season of The Mandalorian, didn't they? It just seems everything seems a little. There's always little snippets to try and make the sequels trilogy make sense.
And that's one of the issues I have with all of the Star Wars stuff. Anyways, is they've painted themselves into a corner with this storyline. They've got the sequels that they have to butt up against, and they got to tie into those storylines that no one cares about with the First Order and stuff. I'm saying no one, and I mean me, and I'm sure tons of people, but I just, and that's one thing I really liked about Andor was it was a completely separate storyline. Yes, it tied into the Empire and all that kind of stuff, and it had a time zone, but I didn't hear anything about Jedis. I didn't hear anything about Skywalkers. I saw a self-contained thing, and there's so many more stories out there that could happen with.
Yeah,
we saw.
You're missing out. You guys are forgetting some fantastic stories which came out of Robot Chicken, which is the real canon of Star Wars, and Gary taking his daughter to work. You know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
It's all part of it.
It's day in the life Star Wars you want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, I think you're absolutely spot on there, Jeff, when you said about them trying to pigeonhole in certain bits and bobs to explain the sequels. They did that in Mandalorian season 3, didn't they? I think they had a whole episode with that doctor and that Imperial lady or whatever, and that was all about them, wasn't it? And trying to find out the cloning and stuff like that. For me, that detracts from the actual series itself and the story that they're trying to tell within that series. Do you know? I just think it's. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I mean we've got what 4 or 5 main planets that everything happens on, and we've got one family that everything revolves around, and it's just like, move on, do something different. It's a big galaxy.
Yeah.
And that's again before we go too far, but yeah, you know, the planets we came out of Rogue One. Like, okay, yes, they reworded some of the planets to be, Obi-Wan was reversed up and made a new planet and stuff like that. But some of the Scarra from places like that were planets you didn't see from day to day, and different soldiers working those planets type thing. That was pretty cool.
It's a big empire.
Yeah, definitely.
Massive empire.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I think they've made such a mess of the sequels and the way they've told the story, and now they're sort of like you say, they've got to go back and explain everything. And I don't know. I just wish they would concentrate on quality and getting the story right and there being a Star Wars story, as opposed to keep having all these episode series and stuff like that. I mean, a question I keep asking people is, do you think that there is too much Star Wars at this moment in time? Is it a matter of quantity over quality?
I go back and forth on that.
Sorry, Ed, what was that?
I think there definitely is to the and what they're doing is again, not only have they killed off our childhood heroes type thing, but people like Book of Boba, like the way they butchered the shit out of that TV show, where the only 2 good episodes were the Mandalorian episodes. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You have a guy that was all about the mystery. He didn't say much. He didn't do much, but you knew as soon as you saw that menacing helmet that he was a badass, and they just turned him into such a pussy in Book of Boba. You know what I mean? Like, and then the same aspect, Kenobi. Like Kenobi and Vader should have never had that confrontation in Kenobi. Like, no, it's always the end or the start, which was the end. You know what I mean? So
you can say
you're saying their last fight should have been in episode 3, the end of episode 3, and then again in A New Hope.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just Kenobi should never have been broached.
You can say the same thing about Vader, though, as far as the prequels. It's like all of a sudden they start him out as a kid, and they give him sympathy and give him a reason why he's evil, instead of just making him the boogeyman in the closet like he was from the original trilogy that we grew up with. It's like, oh my God, he's the most evil thing ever. I'm okay with that. I don't need to see him when he's a little kid and understand why he became bad.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with that, I think George Lucas had already had those stories in mind, but he just didn't want to. He just started with, like, I think in his mind he always wanted Star Wars to be Episode 4, A New Hope, and that's big. And the reason he didn't put it out as A New Hope to start with, Episode 4, was because he didn't know that film was going to be a success.
Right.
So then he put it out. It was a success. Get my bloody words out. And then Empire, and then Jedi, and then he went back after I think was it 15, 20 years, went back and did the sequels.
Yeah.
So I think he had that story anyway. The prequels, yeah. God, I wish he'd done the sequels.
Yeah. When it comes to Obi-Wan, I was overly excited to see Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back in a series.
Yeah.
And the only problem, and if they'd have done a better job with it than they did, then I think we wouldn't be sitting here saying they should never have brought them back. Because if they'd done a proper, a decent job, they just concentrated on them and left Reva out of it and Leia out of it, and just had Vader being a badass, just hunting him down and hunting down Jedis, and that should have been the story until he got to Obi-Wan. If they just left it like that, then I don't think we would have had the complaints. But because they did such a half-assed job with the final confrontation between the two of them, and there were some great moments. But that's the thing about the Disney series. There are a lot of great moments, but unfortunately, there's a lot of really, really bad moments as well.
Yep.
And it's kind of annoying that you've got all these great moments from all these shows, and you have to cherry pick the moments that in your head you think, oh,
I like this scene.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, and that really fits in with the original trilogy, or that really fits in with the. But then you've got all this other stuff, like all of a sudden everyone getting impaled by lightsabers, and lightsabers all of a sudden in the Disney era have sparks flying off of them.
Oh yeah. See, I never noticed that until you mentioned it to me that time, and I keep seeing it now, and it's wrong.
It's really annoying. I mean, I know it's a little tiny thing, but in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, when they
it's a laser sword.
Yeah, there were no sparks. Right. Now, every time they fight with lightsabers, there's sparks that come from it, and it's just a little thing, but it bugs me. And it's annoying that we have to pick these moments from these series and go, right, okay, those Mandalorian episodes with Boba Fett, right? Yeah, that's canon. Yeah, I'm going to put that in the canon section. Oh, but the Boba Fett stuff, that doesn't fit in at all with Star Wars or how I pictured the character. That can go over there, but I'll just forget about that. And we can't do that, can we? Because it's all in one big block. So. That's the problem.
I think Goji and Dave kind of answered the question on that in the stream. It's like there's too much content, and Martin, what you're saying right there is like you're having to cherry pick the stuff you like and the stuff you don't like. We all watch it all, but there's a lot of stuff that we just don't like, and it's like it sucks that you get as a fan you have to go. This is my Star Wars. This is not my Star Wars. This isn't.
Mm-hmm.
G-Force,
and again, G-Force makes a good point. I think us fans built up Boba Fett to be a badass based on 5 minutes of screen time, when actually he was really easily defeated by a partially blind man with a stick. Yeah, I mean, what can you say?
And another thing, this is with Marvel as well. They're rushing to get stuff out so quickly because they need to fill up the Disney Plus catalog that. They're not giving it the time. I mean, George Lucas with 3 years between films, for a 2-hour film. Yet we're getting series that are announced, and then a year later we're watching them. It should be much, much longer. It should be in development and production for far longer than it is. And I thought, to defend them a little bit, I don't think COVID has helped. But the problem is, COVID's meant that we've got to get out even quicker now. No, as a fan, I'd rather wait a couple of years, get it right, and then release it when they can.
Absolutely. I mean, Brendan's made a good point as well. Obi-Wan would have been better if the whole series was Vader hunting down Obi-Wan. However, they never faced off. He was always just out of grasp and until he completely disappears. Yeah, I like that. I agree with that.
I actually like that story better.
I do too. Yeah, I'd watch that any day.
Yeah, Brendan, can you write that one for us, mate?
Yeah. It's funny because you look at how much there wasn't out there at the end of Return of the Jedi to the start of the Thrawn books, Timothy Zahn books, and the bringing back of Power of the Force 2 stuff. There was nothing out there. I mean, there wasn't anything out there on TV or movies, hardly any magazine articles or anything like that. Just Star Wars just was dead, and it's amazing how much we have now, and sometimes it can be too much.
Yeah, I think it's
the dark times.
It's getting to be too much. Yeah, it makes it harder.
I guess we're spoiled because we can say this is shit. This is shit, and this isn't.
Yeah. Do you think it's because they're rushing it to put it on a streaming service? So if they took the time a bit more and made it back as a movie, released the movie in a theater, so people can sit down, eat a box of popcorn and actually just enjoy it more rather than having, the Ahsoka would have been so much better as a movie. You know what I mean? Like, send those episodes out, loop them together, put it in the bloody theater and watch it that way, for argument's sake. I mean,
I know there's a whole with Pete's comment there. I know there's a whole issue about recasting Carrie Fisher right now just because she's recently passed. And I get that, but I think it's the same thing as recasting Indiana Jones. There's such iconic characters that they won't do it because I think they fear a backlash. But I think
but if they did recast Carrie Fisher, well, they can't. They did recast the character Princess Leia. I would have that girl who played 11 in Stranger Things.
Yeah, there you go.
And I cannot for the life of me remember her name, but she looks great. Looks absolutely fantastic, and looks very similar to Carrie Fisher. So yeah, I would I would be
totally okay them recasting. I mean, hell, they recast Lando. They recast Harrison Ford for Han Solo.
Yep. Yes, they did. Yeah. But I guess because it's Luke and Leia.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what we got. If you had great writers and hired professionals and let them do the job. Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked.
Yeah. I think another thing about the Disney.
Yep, Millie Bobby Brown. Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown. That's it. Yeah.
The Disney shows is, I find that if they release them in the Netflix, the way Netflix do, where you had them all released in one go and you binge them, they flow so much better. So when I've rewatched The Mandalorian, for example, or I'm sure it'll be the same with Ahsoka. When you watch them all in order and you're able to watch one after the other rather than having to wait.
Ooh, here he is.
I think that they work better because the Ahsoka, especially, I think is filmed in such a way that it feels like a movie.
Yeah.
It certainly looks like a movie. They've done a great job with the visuals.
Yeah, it's amazing. That is the thing with all the Disney streaming ones. They look absolutely amazing. I absolutely love that you get the glow on their face from a lightsaber now.
Yeah. I mean, so moving on, what do we all think of Ahsoka so far? I mean, it's 7 episodes in? Oh, actually, we just got up to episode 6 because I've not seen episode 7 yet.
One left.
One left. Yeah, I've not seen episode 7 yet, so so no spoilers on that. But up to episode 6, what are we thinking?
I mean, it's been clunky in places, but I have to say again, and this goes back to what I said earlier, it's got more about the mysticism of the Force and the ancient ways of the galaxy or whatever, all the Night Sisters, the different ways people use the Force. I think it is probably one of my most favorite shows that Disney's released so far. It's had the best lightsaber dueling in any Disney project since they've owned it, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's the choreography's been brilliant. I mean, God knows what they've been doing in the rest of the shows. And a lot of people have said to me, "Mine, how can you say that? How can you say it's better than Andor? How can you say it's better than Mandalorian?" But I watched Andor and I loved Andor just like everybody else. I couldn't wait to watch it week by week, and it was absolutely fantastic. Some of the best writing, acting ever seen.
Yep.
But when it finished, I switched over and watched The Mandalorian season 2 in a rewatch because I was like, "Oh, Andor's the best series I've ever seen in terms of Star Wars." But I watched The Mandalorian season 2, and although Andor is fantastic and I love it, I'm not saying I don't like it. But when you watch The Mandalorian season 2, it's like watching fun romp Star Wars action adventure, and Andor isn't that. And in the way I enjoy Star Wars, I enjoy the more action orientated, mysticism side of Star Wars. So I think for me personally, Ahsoka's been absolutely fantastic so far. It has had its bad moments, don't get me wrong, but I'm really, really loving this show so far, and I cannot wait for the finale. But I read today it's 42 minutes long, and I just don't know how they can have a proper end in 42 minutes. But
I agree. I don't know how they're going to do that. It's been too much of a slow build, and with only one episode left, it's like, how are they going to do this where it's going to end and they're going to wrap up their little threads to some degree, but they're going to leave these doors open, and it's going to leave people with a bad taste because it's like we need more. And yes, it's great, getting the band back together for all this stuff, but I do think, like Brandon said, Thrawn has been wasted to me. And I get that they're introducing him here, and he's, I assume, going to be the big baddie for whatever big movie that Filoni does. It's going to wrap up the whole Mandoverse sort of thing. That they're going to be trying to do with Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all the Rebels cast. And that'd be great if they can do that. And it's amazing. And to me, Thrawn's the big baddie for all the next spate of whatever movies they're going to do up till the sequels. And it's amazing. But yeah, I agree with that. The Thrawn to me has been a little bit wasted right now, and he's not quite the Thrawn. He's more the Thrawns from the Rebels series than he's Thrawn from the books.
I meant to let them destroy all my ships and kill all my troops. It's part of
I know. I know. It's all part of the master plan. It's like, okay.
Yeah. That's another reason Rebels kind of was like, man.
I do love Mikkelsen. Is it Mads Mikkelsen that's playing him?
Yeah.
I do like the voice he has for him. I think is great. I just don't think he looks like Thrawn should look. And he's got the suit. Sure, he's got the Grand Admiral outfit, but he doesn't have the large forehead and the hey, why the long face. And it's just, to me, he just doesn't quite. He doesn't look the part as much as some of the other characters do compared to their cartoon characters.
Well, it's the Grand Inquisitor all over again, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, the Grand Inquisitor. Oh God, that was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Thrawn's one of my all-time favorite characters. Yeah, from the original Zahn books all through all the stuff that they did with that, and then the two different series that they've come out recently with him telling his backstory, how he came to our universe. And how he became, into the service of Palpatine. They're just amazing. Those books are. If you guys if you haven't read those, I highly recommend them.
I've read the original trilogy, but I haven't read the new ones.
They're great.
Yeah.
V. Charles made a good point. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd have to give it some thought, but yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Obi-Wan show had the smallest budget out of all the Disney Plus shows. It should have been given a massive budget, core characters. Yeah, but listen, I think it's that's happened a lot with like legacy characters, isn't it? They've not really given them the platform, I don't think, like they have done with the Mandalorian. They weren't Disney characters, were they? They were like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know like what they've done with the.
Isn't it funny that when Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2015, they didn't want to have anything to do with the prequels. They were absolutely adamant that they didn't want anything to do with the prequels. They were awful. No one liked the prequels. Yet everything they have produced in the last 5 years has connections or is about the prequel characters.
Yeah,
because that age group that grew up with the prequels are now the creators of these shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're tying that in. Again, we are aging out of it because we are tied into the original series. That the creators now are tied into the prequels, and they're coming into power on that stuff too. Yeah. But yeah, it's, I don't know. I think we are going to get with whatever movies that Filoni ends up doing. I think they're obviously cherry picking from the expanded universe and from the prequel books, or not prequel books, but the Zahn books and stuff. I think he's going to cherry pick and kind of do a version of his Heir to the Empire story in the movies and in the future of Star Wars. That's the groundwork, it seems like to me, for everything.
Isn't Baylan Skoll one of the most fascinating new characters that you've ever seen in Star Wars?
Yeah,
I want to see a film about him. Yeah.
What's calling to him? Where's he going?
Yeah, it's just, I'm really intrigued. Every scene he's in, I'm like, I'll just stick with him, please. Let's just watch more of him, because he's that character, that mystical character that he feels something out there, and you want to know more. And I just don't think they're going to be able to complete it in 42 minutes next week.
I know. How are they going to do that?
So it's just such a shame, because obviously I don't think he's going to die in the series, and not to have him for a second season or a movie. Just devastating. I mean, Ray Stevens has done such a great job with the character.
It's the best acting job I think I've ever seen him do.
Lucius Renus and
Rest
Titus
in
Pillow.
peace, Ray.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that is such a shame, isn't it? Ray
Yeah.
Stevenson, bless him. I thought he'd been absolutely phenomenal as that character.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely
a solid
phenomenal.
character. Really good.
Absolutely. Right, gentlemen, it is time. Shall we do the Star Wars trivia quiz?
Okay.
Awesome stuff. So pen and paper at the ready. Where's my stop clock? I've got to get my stop clock. Excuse me. Right. So where's my pen? There's my pen. Right. So I've got 6 questions for you. Okay, and they're all based on the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. So you get 30 seconds to answer the questions. Right. I didn't think of these questions. Okay, these were actually from a Star Wars trivia game.
I think you were saying Georgie did them.
No. Well, I know she's clever, Ed, but not that clever, mate. Not that clever. So, I did try and get the leaderboard up, but 5.
Oh, it's frozen again.
If that
This could be an issue.
And then you've got little Brett on Fett. He's got 1, bless him, and you've got Luke Reynolds also on 1. So they're popping up the bottom of the table. So, hi, BOE. How are you? Where is he? Here he is. Look. Oh, my favourite part. Watch out, gentlemen. The correct answers can sometimes be a bit sus.
Is this an arbitrary?
He's only saying that because he's got 1. He got 1. Bless him.
I'm gonna fail on this. I have a feeling.
Well, as long as you got to get more than 1. You can't be down there with Luke and Brett.
I like Luke. I'll be down there with him.
So what I'm going to do is I'll read the question out, and then I'll start the stopwatch. You got 30 seconds. You write your answer down. Once 30 seconds up, you put your answer up on the screen, and I'll tell you if you got the correct answer. Right. So, first question: where was Luke planning to go to have R2's memory erased? So 30 seconds start now. Where was Luke planning to go to have R2's memory erased? So exciting. This is my favorite part of the chat. This is awesome.
I don't know. I'm getting old. My mind is fuzzy.
Okay, you got 5 seconds.
I think I know, but you're just not sure, are you?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute if you get it right. And there you go. Answers, gentlemen. Right, so Martin, pop your answer up. Oh, for crying out loud, I'm going to read that. Am I? What's that say?
Toshi Station.
No.
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 Crap.
Ed. Oh, no, sorry, that's not Ed, is it? That's
I had it wrong too.
Toshi Station. No, and what did you put, Ed?
God, I was going to do the other one. I should have done the other one.
I can't see that. What's that say?
Is this live?
No, it was actually Anchorhead.
Yes, I knew that. Damn it, I should have
Obviously you
changed
didn't,
that.
Jeff, because you put the wrong answer down, didn't you? Unbelievable. Okay, right. Question number 2. Brett, you could be right here, mate. You could be safe here.
Yeah, I might be working the Genius Bar next.
Right. Question number 2. What is Jar Jar's new rank in episode 2? 30 seconds start now. What is Jar Jar's new rank in episode 2?
New what?
New rank.
Oh, new rank.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
So he's been promoted from complete dickhead from episode 1 up to what rank in episode 2? All right, you've got 10 seconds.
God, a total guess on this one.
And time, gentlemen. Right. Okay, so we'll go first. We'll go Martin. Let's see if I can see that.
General.
Bombad General. No, that was episode 3.
No, that was episode 1.
That was episode 1. Yeah.
Oh,
no, that was episode 1. Yeah. So no, it's episode 2. We got moved up a rank, didn't he, in episode 2?
Well, he not in the army.
Well, no, there you are. There you are. Right.
What?
Jeff,
So,
what have you put?
so
Ambassador.
Close, but no cigar.
I don't know.
What have you put there, Ed?
Ah, Senator.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that, Ed.
What was it?
Thank you.
It was Senate
Acting senator.
representative.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
Representative Binks.
So
I
yeah.
haven't watched the prequels in years.
Oh, well, I don't know what to say about that, Jeff. To be honest
I
with you.
know.
Me's watching him last night.
Oh, he's done his homework. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. There's no point. You're not getting a point for that, Brett. You still got one, mate. That don't work like that.
God, I'm going to be down there with Luke.
Give me a point shoot. No, it doesn't work like that. Right. Question 3.
It's his
What did
birthday.
Darth
come on.
Vader say was Luke's only alternative to joining the dark side? 30 seconds start now. What did Darth Vader say was Luke's only alternative to joining the dark side? Surely you guys must get this one.
I say if I don't get this one, then I'm gonna log off. There's a lot
Okay,
of
5
scrabbling
seconds.
going on. I didn't think it was quite that long a word.
And time at the bar, gents. Okay, Martin, what have we got, sir? Let's have a look.
Die.
Ah,
No, don't tell me.
Right. Jeff.
Join him and kill the Emperor and rule by his side.
Right, Jeff. I'll come back to that in a minute, mate. I'll come back to that in a
Okay.
minute. Ed. What have you put?
This is the
This
way.
is-
There is no option.
This is what? All gay?
This is not about you.
Well, this is the
This
way.
is the
This is
way.
the way.
There
Yeah.
is no option.
No. I'm going to give Martin a point for that. It's actually
Join us
death.
or die.
See, the
Yeah.
clue was in the question, Jeff.
Yeah.
What did Darth Vader say was Luke's only alternative to joining the dark side?
Oh, join the dark side or die. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Join
good
us or
listener.
die. Or
Just ask my
something,
wife.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah,
G-Force had it.
Become a
G-Force has it
Hasbro
right. Was
employee.
kissing his sister.
Whoa. Yeah, that's bad, isn't it? That's bad.
That's not a good thing.
Right. Question 4. Who, according to C-3PO, never expressed any unhappiness with C-3PO's work? Time starts now.
Oh,
Who,
God.
according to C-3PO, never expressed any unhappiness with C-3PO's work?
The Chad.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that up in a second. I've got to keep an eye on the old timer.
Sure.
I've noticed that. Thank you. 5 seconds. Right, time at the bar. Okay, right, Chad. Thank you so much, my friend. Oh boy, we're talking Star Wars.
Chad.
Oh, sorry, I'm late. Yes, thank you, my friend. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
That's cool.
G'day, Chad.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you
That's
so
really
much.
cool.
Right. Okay. So, Martin, where are we at?
Luke. Master Luke.
Master Luke. Yes. Jeff.
Luke.
Oh, you've got one right.
Woohoo!
Awesome. Well done.
Yay!
Ed.
Master Luke.
Oh, well done. Look at
I
this.
didn't put master. Sorry.
It doesn't matter. It's still Luke. So, you've only got to get one more, and you
Ooh.
don't have to suffer the same fate of being bottom of the table with Brett and Luke. I love that.
Awesome.
That's great. That's
It's
awesome.
good company.
Yeah, it is. It's his birthday today, old Brett.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know how old he was. He didn't say. I would put him in his what, late 30s, early 40s.
Youngin.
At 966, looks so good you will. Hmm?
Yeah. Right. Okay. Question number 5.
5.
Who killed the first Imperial trooper on Endor? Who killed the first Imperial trooper on Endor?
Holy shit.
Close.
Oh, Imperial Trooper. Okay. Nah. I should-
Bloody hell, Brett. Stop it. I should delete that. First Imperial trooper on Endor.
I don't know.
And time, gentlemen. Okay, so Martin.
I'm going to say
What have you
Leia.
put?
I'm not
No.
100% sure. No.
No. Jeff?
Got that one wrong. I said Leia also.
No, no. And Ed?
It was Luke. He killed the biker scout.
No, it wasn't. It was Chewie, gentlemen. It was Chewie.
Oh,
Brett even tried to give it away in the chat.
What,
Jeff?
I'm old. Just leave it at that.
Jeff, there's
Well,
no pressure.
Yes,
is there only one more question? Only one question?
Only one more question, yeah.
Fuck.
Question number 6. And to be honest with you, I don't hold much hope for you, Jeff.
Oh, that hurts, sort of. But also,
I'm honest. You might pull this one out the bag. Well, you never know. You'll never know.
If it's prequel, I'm fucked.
No, it's original trilogy.
Okay, maybe.
What is the center switch on a speeder bike used for jamming?
Oh,
Fun parts. No. What is the center switch on a speeder bike used for jamming?
got it.
Oh, awesome.
I'm out.
Mic drop.
Sharpie drop. I probably have it wrong.
Okay. Last few seconds now. 5 seconds. And that's your lot, gents. Okay, so let's start with Martin. What have you got for me, sir?
Frequency.
No. Jeff, let's see if you got it.
Jam the comm link.
Oh,
Hey!
2.
And
2.
Ed, comlink, absolutely spot on.
Yeah, but did he think it was turn the comm link on or to jam it? I don't know. It's kind of nebulous.
I'll jam you, Jeff.
I'm sure it was jam their comlink. It's the center switch.
It's right.
Jam their comlink. It's the center switch. Well. That is that. So Ed won that round with 3 whopping points. So you're mid-table, sir.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Nice.
And Martin and Jeff, you call yourself Star Wars fans? God,
I'm
blimey.
very
You got
disappointed in
2.
myself.
You got
I'm
2.
Very disappointed.
But you've got to take some happiness knowing that you got more than 1,
That helps.
which is what Brett on Fett got, and Luke Reynolds. So yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Let's just catch up on the chat quickly. So what we got? What's this? Join me or back or HasLabs? Yeah.
Yeah.
So are we sure these
No.
people have seen Star Wars? Whoa, Kieran. Right. I think there's a challenge there, Kieran. Next time I do a talking on the live stream, mate, and be part through your paces and see where you're at with these questions. Okay, so if you're interested, mate, I'll get you on the next one. So yeah, see what you're all about, sir.
It's all in the hat, Kieran.
It is
It's all in
Chad.
the hat.
It's the
People
patch.
It's a patch.
What we got here? Jeff Barker, miss you, man. Oh,
You too, Chad.
misses you. Awesome. What we got here? Cheers, guys. Come and join me and Luke Reynolds. To be fair, Brett did redeem himself on the 24-hour live stream. Unfortunately, that didn't count. But he did well there. I'm old. Let's just
Right there with you, Brett.
yeah. Oh, look at that. Happy birthday from Scuba there. Awesome stuff. Leia. Well, no point reading G-Force's comments because he was getting them wrong. What else we got? Brett, come on, brother. We know you're born in the 80s, 90s. Join the Monster Raven Looney Party. Absolutely. What we got here? I did try to give it anything away. Yeah. I'm sure you put Chewbacca in there somewhere.
I didn't see that. I missed it.
Obviously, Jeff, you only got 2. You would have got 3 otherwise, wouldn't you?
If you're trying to help, I appreciate it.
Nice show, was he? 97? No, Brett, you weren't born in. If you were born in the 70s, Brett, you're looking very well, mate. I've got to say. Drop the mic, Jeff. Absolutely. Where are we going? The middle button was the. Oh my goodness me! Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Great chat. Can we see the shabby head? Yes, absolutely, we can. Absolutely. So this is the shabby commercial once again, ladies and gentlemen.
This live stream is brought to you by Just for Shabby Hair Care. Tell that grey to go away and be the younger man that you want to be, just like Shabby.
There you go.
That's gold. It's so good.
Oh, dear. Do you know what? It took me absolutely ages to do that. It really did. I must have done about 7, 8, maybe 10 takes on that, because I just, every time I did it, I had like a little tickle in my throat, or I'd start laughing to myself because I make myself laugh because I'm that stupid. But yeah,
It's awesome.
It's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And I did the voiceover I called on myself. Okay, right, guys, that is going to be it. Oh, what's this? It's just 1977. Oh,
Yeah, he's
awesome.
a youngin' too.
1979, but was
77.
Dragon.
It's a good year.
Dragon in the house. Where's
G'day.
Dragon?
Yeah, g'day, Dragons here.
Oh, where? Oh, hang on. Hello, Dragon. How are you, sir? This is a very generous man. I've never met this guy before, and
He's
we were
awesome.
in London, and we were. It was myself, Georgie, Scuba Pete, Leslie, and Cy Manga Fandanga, and we were walking around London. It was Easter Sunday, and we was all sitting there having a meal, and Dragon Reborn come in, and bless him, I've never met him before. This guy, absolutely awesome. So yeah.
Stu, you
top
froze
guy.
up there. What did he do?
Yeah, we didn't
What did he
hear that.
do?
Yeah,
He bought everybody dinner. Sorry,
Oh, nice.
never met him before. He came in, he had something to eat, and he footed the bill. So
That's awesome.
very much appreciated.
Wow.
Absolute top
That's
top
pretty
guy.
good.
And was that to do with the hair care advert? Yeah, brilliant, awesome stuff. Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you this evening, or whenever it is time of the day over your places. So thank you so much, Martyn. Thank you. What have you got coming up, mate, on your channel?
Well, I mean, obviously it's Echo Base next week, so Adam and I
Yeah.
are off to Echo Base for a very good day. Hopefully, got lots of things on the wish list. So yeah, we'll do a video while we're there and pop that out on the YouTube as we always do. So yeah, that's coming up.
Awesome. I've got to say, I've heard rumours, only rumours, that my work day might be cancelled, so I could be,
Ooh.
be up there.
Excellent. We'll look forward to seeing you.
Tony Z, thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much.
G'day, Tony.
So yeah, I could be on my way up there, but again, won't find out until Friday. Ed, how about you, sir? You
I am obviously on
all frozen again?
Yeah, you froze. I'm on Salatia's channel tonight doing some Lego building with the Lego studs.
Nice.
And
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
that's about it at the moment. I have to clear out this space because they've got to fix this roof and that, and then I will start rebuilding in here, ready for episode 69 with you.
No, let's just get this right. It's episode 69. It's nothing sexual. So just wanted to point that out, guys. Okay. So cheers for that, Ed. Thank you very much, mate.
No worries, bud. That's all
Thanks a lot,
fine.
pal. Cheers, man. You made me blush. Look at that. I've gone red. bloody
Brilliant.
bloody tomato. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And how about you, Jeff? You got anything coming up? Because I know you do bits for Chasing
Yeah,
80s Toys.
I am still officially part of Chasing 80s Toys until Chris and Pete kick me out because I haven't done anything for a long time. I do want to get back into doing some stuff I like to do. I've redone my room a bunch since the last time I was on. I'd like to do a little bit of a room tour here in the next soon, but hopefully I can, get my motivation back to do some videos for everybody and get some things out there. But the live stream stuff like this really helps because this is so much damn fun.
Yeah, cool. It's been a pleasure having you on. And I've forgotten what I was going to bloody say now. Oh God! I was thinking of something. I was going to say something, but it's totally gone now. Bloody hell! Oh yeah, Kieran. Where's he gone? Kieran. Where are you? That's not Kieran. There's Kieran. Kieran, mate, I will get in contact.
Oh,
I would like you to be on it, my friend, and I want to see what you're all about with that quiz. So yeah, there, awesome stuff. So expect a message from me soon, pal. I will say I'm in London at the moment. Hope to see you. Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah, that would be great if you're there, mate. Look forward to that.
God, I wish we were there for that. That'd be so much fun.
I don't want to bring
Yeah,
the chat
big
down.
time.
I just wanted to let you know we feel for you, man, and hope you get some justice. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all feel the same way, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
I was just saying earlier on, I had a dream last night that it was found. So you never know. Karma could be coming. But yeah, it was an awakening moment. So
Yeah.
hopefully something good might happen. But yeah, like I said, I because of what's happening with that, and obviously this room about to be redone, I do want to start doing some more content for the channel as well, because there's been quite a few subscribers because of all the videos and love and the support that's been going through the community. So I need to start putting some content on my channel to keep people interested. So yeah, as soon as I get this room sorted, which is the start of November, I'll start putting stuff on the walls and start filming things properly. So
Okay.
we'll get it happening.
Wizzy's put it out there. You know, what can we do to help as a community?
Look, really nothing real. I mean, like I said, if you guys are in Facebook groups and things like that, and you start seeing like vintage toys or things going cheap, because someone's obviously probably going to panic and try and want to flip things. Again, you know, if you see a hot toy and it's got an autograph on it, 9 times it could be mine, because that's the sort of weird stuff that I like to do. So, but yeah, because we're such a huge community and there's so many in different Facebook groups, and like I said, things like vintage Transformers have gone, vintage Motu has gone, vintage Star Wars has gone, as well as modern stuff. So modern Star Wars, like I said, all the TVC vehicles, Black Series helmets. There's at least 10 Black Series helmets, except for Bo-Katan is the only one I've got left at the moment because I was here. You know what I mean?
Well, what region of Australia would you be in? Would they be selling stuff out of, you think?
Well, I'm from South Australia, so I'm basically in South Australia, which is sort of near where Adelaide is. But yeah, if you see something on even eBay, for argument's sake, and you know, like you have a Captain America shield which has been signed by Stan Lee, for argument's sake, that is probably mine. If it's coming from Australia, that's the only thing I can think of. Like, we have a big enough community. There's enough members of this community which are across a lot of different things. And if I have photos, man, and Darth, with you, I can shoot you through. If you're on Instagram, I can shoot you through some photos to have a look at stuff. But yeah, so because there's so much that's been taken as well, it's hard to, you know, if you see a group lot of TVC lined up like that selling for $20, or Power of the Force, or any of those sort of carded figures, you know what I mean? Like, it could be mine. That's the only thing I can think of, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, again, 2 boxes of Black Series are all gone. Everything was in box. Everything was pretty much MIB, you know what I mean? So, apart from that, I can't think of anything else that people can actually do to help. I mean, you know, it's not just it's keeping an eye and an ear out. If you hear or see anything, just reach out. I can then work it out if I want to tell the police about it, to go and follow something up. Because yeah, like I said, it's just getting that word out there, making people aware just to look after their own shit more than anything else as well. If you haven't got insurance on your stuff, if you haven't got things written down, catalogued, because even if you have a fire or something like that, you need to be able to keep a track of things.
Most definitely. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not until the horse is bolted that you sort of realise stuff like that. It's too little too late, you know what I mean? I mean, I was fortunate enough I had enough of an idea of what was in certain things to go from there. So, like I said, mate, Aussiebluesnaggletooth on Instagram is my Instagram stuff. So over the next week, I'll start putting photos of stuff that's gone missing through there. Like I said, a bit of a homage, a bit of a memorial, if you want. And yeah, to see what might turn up. You know what I mean? Because I don't know of any other way of being able to you get it back otherwise. You know what I mean? Like it's it's just one of those things. But so much childhood stuff is gone. You know what I mean? Like 96 kind of vintage Star Wars figures gone. You know what I mean? All Motu and vehicles, play sets, all that sort of stuff is gone. I mean, it's hard. It's so hard just to do that. So, but anyway.
Well, anything we can do to help out and whatnot. As a community, I think we'll all pull together and try and do as much as we can to try and retrieve some of it.
I really appreciate it. I do appreciate it, guys.
No
so thank you so much.
No problem.
But yeah, we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted.
Oh yeah. So on that note, we will call it a night. I just want to say a massive thank you to you, Ed. Absolute star, mate. Thank you so much.
Mate.
Thank you for being here.
It's
been a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me on.
No. It's been a pleasure. You're welcome anytime. Jeff, again with you, absolute pleasure having you on the channel, mate.
It's awesome.
Well done for not getting 1 point. I'm very proud of you. Good stuff. And Martyn, again, always a pleasure. Always an absolute pleasure. Guys in the chat, thank you so much for those of you who left the super chat. Again, very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Until next time, ladies and gents, we shall see you soon. Take care and thank you very much.
Bye. See you, everybody.
See you guys. Thank you.